Hello and welcome. If this is your first time here, this is Life by the Moment, and I'm Lisa, and I'd like to welcome you to our channel. If you're a returning visitor to our channel, leave a comment below. Let me know what you've liked about our content so far, what you'd like to see more of, and if this is your first video, would like to welcome you. Tell us who you are in the comments and where you're from. So, today's video is going to be a little bit different. I would like to discuss a topic that I think is challenging for a lot of us. The topic is having self-doubt and being under pressure. Now, a lot of us are under pressure that we put on ourselves, and there's pressure all around us all the time, constantly. We have pressure from our bosses if we work a physical job. We have pressure from the people around us, and we have just so much pressure that we have to relieve on a daily basis. So what do we do with that pressure, and what are the challenges? Um, Recently, I've come to realize that a lot of the pressure that I deal with come from people that are living a different path or different journey than I am, and they don't really understand the path that I'm going on or the journey that I've traveled. It's not really possible, is it? Because we're all different people and we all have different journeys. And my journey is not going to look like your journey. One of the criticisms I've received over the years that's been very challenging to me is the criticism that I get about, the types of jobs I've done working from home, or that alone, just being a stay-at-home mom. I spent many years home with our 4 children. I raised them. I was home for their every event, their every award. I was the soccer mom. I was the cheer coach, the football coach. I drove to voice lessons and music lessons, and I was a Girl Scout leader, and I did all these things. And I did all these things to, I wanted to be involved, not be a helicopter mom, but be involved in my children's lives. And that was really important. Eventually, my children grew up, and as they were growing up, I was getting a little bit burnt out. There was just so much expected of me as a stay-at-home mom. For some reason, there isn't a lot of value placed on stay-at-home moms. I can't really wrap my brain around it. A lot of times, stay-at-home moms, we're on the clock 24/7. We don't get a day off, it's Sunday through Saturday, we're on the clock. Kids are sick or they need help with schoolwork. When they're little, when you get toddlers, it's a different thing. Changing diapers and maybe up in the middle of the night and dealing with the sickies and all of those kinds of things, pediatric appointments and whatnot. Whew. I have to take a breath remembering all that. Are any of you dealing with these kind of pressures, outside pressures? Do you get negative feedback because of your choices? It really shouldn't bother me so much, but it really does. For people to criticize and say that I'm not working hard enough because I'm at home. And on the other end of the spectrum, I also have friends that chose to work, and I believe that a woman should have a choice to go out of the home and work if she'd like to. I was content, fairly content being home and raising my children. Things were tighter and things like that. We didn't go on lavish vacations and we didn't have a lot of extra spending money. But I think any of my children would tell you that they really enjoyed having me be home. They came home to a mom. They came home to warm meals, and they even helped cook some of those meals, and they learned skills because I was there to teach them. A lot of these skills aren't even taught in school, so how do you expect your children to grow up and learn them? Now, I grew up in the 70s, so a lot of you know that are of my generation, Gen Xers. You know, a lot of us grew up, we came home, we were the latchkey kids, we had to take care of ourselves and fend for ourselves. I was blessed. I did have two hardworking parents, but they always tried to make sure that someone was home for us. But it was a different time. And now, since then, it seems we're so far gone from that there's a sort of shame held over your head when you are a stay-at-home mom. I'm not lazy. I did my time taking care of children, taking care of the house, and most recently, my husband and I had undergone another chapter in our life where we were running a home business, which I was doing honestly, about 90% of it. Now we're in a different chapter. We're no longer involved in that business and that company. I just think sometimes people criticize a lot too quickly before they really know what is going on. And it's really not anyone's business how you live your life. As long as an example, having a family, as long as you're caring for your children and teaching them good morals, and you're showing them love and compassion and teaching them life skills, isn't that the most important thing? I mean, yes, we got to keep a roof over our head and we got to pay the bills. Everybody's got bills and we got to put food on the table. But you know, there's different ways of doing things. And I think sometimes we get overcritical of other people's choices. I mean, I support my friends that had no choice and they had to be the single parent and they had to do it all. I don't know how they do it. Yeah, you know, it would have been easier for me to go out and get a job and get some time to myself. You know, I remember when the children were little growing up, and sometimes I'd be envious because my husband would get, his job is more than a half hour away. It's about 45 minutes away. And he would get that time to just, you know, wake up, drink your coffee and whatnot, listen to the radio, or just listen to silence or your own thoughts. But with me, for all those years, I had to just get up and go, you know, get up and move and do all those things. And I didn't have a lot of time for myself. So now I'm grateful that I have the time to myself, and I'm learning new things now, and I'm learning about YouTube and putting out content on YouTube. And I hope that you're enjoying the content. But I just wonder how many of us out there are dealing with this pressure too, and the pressure to be, you know, perfect and do everything right, you know, because we just can't do it all. And in the last year, when dealing with the situations I've had to deal with, it's been really hard because I am very much a type A personality. I'm very much OCD. I like things done a certain way. I like things tidy a certain way. And I've had to let go a lot of that because I just can't. I'm just getting back on my feet, quite literally. So a lot of things have taken a back seat. It drives me crazy. It does. But it's another stage, you know. You gotta roll with the punches, you know. Life is just, you know, you can plan things. What is it they say? Man makes plans and God laughs at him. I know that's not the exact quote, but man makes their plans, and you know, it just doesn't always work out the way we plan. You know, especially when you have challenges, physical challenges, or when your health, you know, and that can cause a lot of anxiety. So maybe next time, before we try and judge someone else's situation, we should sit down and have a conversation like I'm sharing with you, and you know, maybe understand what the other person is going through, or what their intentions are, and how about we support one another in each other's decisions. I mean, there's a time to step in when you see that somebody's being foolish, if it's the right time, if you know them well enough. But if you don't know somebody well enough, it really isn't your business to criticize how they live their life. So let me know in the comments if you could relate to this video, if you have had situations similar yourselves. And if you like the content, consider subscribing. And if you haven't yet, please do check out the last few videos that I've posted. I have set up in the queue, well, not in the queue exactly. We have a few van tours that we did some time ago, my husband and I, and I hadn't shared them before. So I think those are what's going to be next, and I think you'll really enjoy that. It'll be some more different, more exciting content maybe than a sit and chat. If this isn't your thing, you might like the van tours. But, you know, that's this channel. It's life by the moment. So sometimes we'll just do a sit and chat, and sometimes we'll be out and driving around the town and doing fun things. So I hope you come along for the journey, and I'm glad to have you here, and thank you so much. Bye-bye. See you next time, and be blessed and be kind.